Hey everyone, I'm Michelle, a co-founder at Typedream, and today we have Kyleigh Smith. I've known Kyleigh for over a year now. We know each other from Twitter, and I've been following her journey where she dropped her six-figure day job to become an indie hacker. She's building a habit tracker called Harold, and she also started the Dry January tracker earlier this year, where she used Typedream for her website. All right. Welcome, Kyleigh. I'll let you
Thank
introduce.
you. Yeah, that was a great intro. I'm Kyleigh. I have a background in product design and user research. And I started my indie hacking career like right after the pandemic. So like March 2020, when we all had all this extra time on our hands, I was finally able to start playing with some of my ideas. So that was sort of the beginning of my indie hacking career. I started with Harold, the habit tracker, which you mentioned that I'm still working on. And I've sort of been in and out of, I'll have a full-time job, then I'll go back to indie hacking full-time. Right now I'm indie hacking and then doing some consulting. So a little mix of both, which seems to be a good balance. And yeah, I use Typedream for my most recent product, Dry January Tracker, and loved it. And I see you guys on Twitter and I love the team and I love what you guys are doing. So I'm happy to chat.
Of course. Thank you so much for the intro, Kyleigh. So you mentioned that you jumped into the indie hacking journey during COVID. Did you drop your six-figure job to go indie hacking full time, or did you juggle both jobs at the time?
Yeah. So at the time, I was working as a senior product designer at a startup. And I just started building Herald on the side.
Mhm.
That was around the time when all of these no code tools started popping up. And so I was finally able to figure out how I could build one of my own ideas without trying to recruit a developer. So for the first year, I was working full time and just working on Herald on nights and weekends and mornings. And then that startup shut down.
Okay.
So then I kind of took that opportunity to work on it full time for about a year. And I was focused on Harold, but also trying a bunch of other ideas too. None of
Mhm.
them were making money. So then I went back to a full time job. And yeah, I just realized I missed the early stage indie hacking startup environment. So I ended up leaving. And now I'm doing the consulting for Llama Life, another
Mhm.
Twitter indie hacker friend that people should recognize. So I've been doing some consulting for her in the Llama Life product and
Mhm.
getting back to indie hacking on the side. Yeah.
Wow,
So it's about 50-50 now.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the timing then that made you take the leap of faith to pursue this indie hacking journey full time, huh?
Yeah. It's hard, definitely hard to make the leap. So that was nice. It kind of
Mhm.
forced my hand a little bit. And then the second time leaving the full-time job was really hard because I had a really good salary. It was a great company and a great role. I just like had this yearning to get back to the earlier stage stuff. So it keeps pulling me back. So we'll see if I can make it work.
That's great to hear. All right, so
Yeah.
about Harold the Habit Tracker.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that? What is it? How you got the idea and where you see it going?
Yeah, it's funny because habit trackers, I feel like get such a bad rap because there's a million of them and it's everyone's first like dev project when they try to build something. But Herald is different because it's all through SMS. So
Mhm.
my problem with habit trackers was I can never stick with them. I think some people have no problem. They're like, I'm going to do this thing. And then they do it and they have no problem. I would create these like spreadsheets in my journal, all the
Mhm.
habits I was going to do. I would track for 2 days and then forget about it. Like I have pages
Okay.
where I set up a habit tracker and it's just empty. So that was my issue was remembering to track and making a habit of tracking.
Uh-huh.
And so I had this idea of making like a little SMS bot that just texted you, hey, did you meditate today? Hey, did you work out or whatever? And I
Mhm.
could just text back yes or no, because that I can do. Like I'm already texting.
Uh-huh.
And so that's Harold. He's like a little SMS bot. He has some AI built in. I'm using the new chat GPT 3.5 model. So he's kind of funny. And he congratulates you when you do your habits. So it's kind of a fun
Mhm.
experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The notification feature is definitely a game changer.
Yeah, he just texts you. So even if you like forget to track and then you go to text your friend later, he's there in your messages. You're like, okay, fine, I'll just respond to him. So I was able to track for 4 months
Uh-huh.
with my prototype that I started out with. And that's when I knew, okay, this is at least solving my problem. So hopefully
Yeah.
there's other people out there with the same problem.
Yeah. I can say for sure that I do have that problem as well.
Okay, we'll have to get you on it.
Yes, please. All right. So, can you talk about the highs and lows from this indie making journey?
Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster. So highs and lows is the right way to describe it. I mean, the highs were just at the beginning, like I put a link to my landing page in my Twitter bio and was just tweeting about it. And then, a
Mhm.
random person signed up. Like that was so exciting. Um, and then just having more people sign up and try it. I launched on Product Hunt and got like 13th of the day, which was huge for me. I had like 300 upvotes and
Mhm.
like 300 signups. So that was really exciting for my first product. And then I ended up winning the maker grant
Oh, wow. Okay.
for it. So that was another big high. And then the lows I like are just as many. It's just, it's hard to keep the momentum and keep the motivation going when you don't have those signups, when things aren't going well. There's
Mhm.
always tons of other ideas and things you want to do, so it's hard to stick
Mhm.
with it. And so with Harold, I'm always asking myself, like, is it time to move on to something else? And then there's just something that keeps pulling me back to it.
Mhm.
And like where Dry January comes in is where I'm starting to experiment with maybe different positioning or different markets. Like the product is great. When people sign up, they retain for a really long time. I have people have tracked for years. So like the product works, but the positioning as a habit tracker, I don't know, maybe it doesn't really excite people. So that's where the idea of Dry January came in. Like, what are some specific use cases
Mhm.
and niches that I can um, use the same stack, but just like target those? And that's where Typedream came in because it
Mhm.
allowed me to really make that one page landing page sign up for Dry January tracker and made everything really easy. So
That's really great to hear. I'd like to
yeah.
dig deeper into your success. So you mentioned that one of the highs was when you just tweeted something and a random person signs up, right?
Yeah.
What are your efforts in order to have these momentums? Is it mostly Twitter and Product Hunt?
Yeah, for the first year or two, it was almost exclusively Twitter and Product Hunt, maybe a little bit of indie hackers,
Mm-hmm.
posting some stuff on there. But yeah, just building in public on Twitter, trying to share my progress. I also joined the On Deck No Code program, which they don't do anymore, but that was a way for me to like get to know other indie makers and engage with them, and that was a huge help. But yeah, Twitter was where like definitely the first 100 signups came from, and then this last year I've been trying to add SEO and Google as a channel with some success. So that's been bringing in some organic
Wow.
website visitors as well. Yeah,
You do
because Twitter
backlinks?
runs out after a while. Yeah.
You do backlinks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I got a few backlinks from doing things like this. Like other indie makers and founders will, they're starting a new podcast or something. So I've done a few of those. So I've gotten a few backlinks that way. I haven't really done a lot of outbound
Mm-hmm.
for backlinks, but even just with what I was able to get sort of organically set me as like I had a domain rating of like 20 or something.
Uh-huh.
And then I've just learned a little bit about SEO and how to target not the most popular words, that everyone's trying to get, but try to find these words that have 200 or 300 search volume per month and trying to beat out one or two of those articles to get to that top 10.
Uh-huh.
So it's possible even with a low domain rating. Maybe that's something that not everyone realizes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So I kind of stalked your Twitter profile and I found
Nice.
this tweet. I'm going to send it through the chat where you talked about your process to find the perfect website builder for your dry January tracker project. So at first you were comparing Unicorn platform versus Webflow, but at the end of the day, you decided to use Typedream. Can you maybe talk more about that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you dug this up. I didn't even remember I wrote this, but this is pretty thorough. So yeah, my first go-to was Unicorn platform, because that's what I used for Harold's first website. And yeah, so I was considering that. It's similar to Typedream, and then they have a lot of pre-built components, so it can save you some time on design. Like I don't have to worry about making the design look really nice because I have a design background, so I'll spend way too much time if it's left to me. So I like when they're pre-built.
Right?
With Webflow, it's like very flexible, and I know you can pretty much do anything you want on there, but that means a lot of time. And the stage I'm at, I was just testing this dry January idea. I had no idea what was going to happen with it, so I needed something quick. So I think that's what it really came down to. And then what really sold me about Typedream was just how flexible it was. Like you have those pre-built components that look great out of the box. And it's really, but at the same time, it's really easy to move things around and make it your own. And yeah, it was just kind of a no-brainer. And then the process of like publishing and all of that was just really easy. So
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that.
yeah.
So, when you were trying to decide between Unicorn platform and Webflow, how did Typedream suddenly come into your world? Did you hear about Typedream before that, or did you see a tweet of Typedream during that decision process? Or yeah.
Yeah, I think I just sort of had seen you and your team around on Twitter and on Product Hunt, and I tried the product probably a year prior to this.
Okay.
And I thought it was really good. There was just like a few things I was struggling with like dragging things. It felt like there's just a few kinks to be ironed out.
Yeah.
So I kind of left and stayed with Unicorn and stuff. And then when I went back this time, I was like, let me try it again. Let me see, because I could see you guys tweeting and working hard on all this stuff. So when I went back, all of that stuff had been ironed out. It was clear the team really focused on the product experience and made it super smooth. And that also made me confident in the product, that this is something I should use for my products moving forward, because you guys are listening to feedback, iterating and improving the product, which is always good.
Is there any feature that you like the most from Typedream, or is it mostly just the user experience where it's simple and easy to use?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the user experience. It's just so easy to use, and I can really get it to do what I want it to do. And I do have design opinions, and I want it to look a certain way, and Typedream was able to let me do that. The one thing, yeah, I'm looking at this thread. Like I was trying to add this background that I'd made. I basically made this image in Figma of Dry January Challenge with these emojis. And I needed the button, the call to action button, to be like laid over the image.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out how to do that on Unicorn. Looks like I tried for 30 minutes to do it on Webflow and couldn't get it to work. And then I tried on Typedream and it worked like right away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I
that was
didn't know
also, that was
was
like the
straightforward thing.
yeah, I don't know if you guys designed it to do that, but with how it was built, it allowed me to do it. So
Wow.
that sort of made the deal, because that's what I needed it to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
How did having Typedream as a landing page help you with the campaign?
The biggest benefit was that I was able to get it up and ready in like a day, because I had this idea like late December, and I had to get it obviously ready before January 1st.
Yes.
So that was the most critical, was just being able to get it out and then being able to edit it really easily and like make updates as the day got closer, and I learned and I got feedback and things like that.
That's amazing. One day, huh?
Yeah, I think it was just this thread, like this day I just went through it and made it all
Cool.
happen. Yeah.
When you shared it on Twitter or social media in general, did anyone mention anything about the landing page?
I have to remember. Yeah, I need to find like the tweet where I launched it. But yeah, I mean, people liked the emojis, that like visual image I had at the top. And yeah, what I liked about it is that I had this like study that linked to the benefits of dry January, and it like kind of looked like a research paper that you could click into and read more, which I think helped with conversion. And yeah, I got a bunch of signups. I should have pulled up the numbers before this, but I think I had like 75 people in the dry January challenge, which for reference, like for Harold, I probably have one person sign up a week or something, a handful sign up a week. So to have 75 in, a couple days for this like 1 month challenge was like a big, like 10x increase for me for Harold signups. So that kind of told me, okay, there's probably something here with discovering more specific use cases and leveraging Harold for that. So that's something I'm still playing with.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, so to close this podcast, if you were to share a word or two to a new indie hacker, what would it be? What would you say to help them get from 0 to 1?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wrote a whole book about it if people want to check it out. But
What
if
is
I
this
were
called?
to, it's called The Honest Guide to Indie Making. It's basically written from as a narrative, sort of my whole story when my startup shut down and I started working on it full time, like everything I learned the hard way. So that's a great place if people are thinking about getting started. That's sort of like all of my advice in there. But if I were to choose one thing, the biggest thing I think is just getting, like you said, getting your idea out there. Don't be afraid to talk to people about it or tweet about it because you think someone's going to steal it. In reality, execution is the hard part, and like distribution, there's like so many things that's hard about going from 0 to 1. So you sort of just need to get started. And if you try to keep your idea too close, people aren't going to find out about it. So, and because execution is so hard, you should know that even if someone likes your idea, they're also going to have a hard time executing on it. So, yeah, just like talk about your idea, share it with people, get feedback, like build a landing page and describe your product and the value proposition. That's always a good way to think through the value you're offering because it forces you to be really concise, and just start sharing it around.
So, in other words, for you perfectionists out there, don't be.
Yeah, you really have to get comfortable with sharing things that aren't finished or aren't perfect. And you have to also know that your first idea is probably not the best, or like it's probably you need that feedback from other people and you need feedback from the market to refine your idea. So yeah.
Exactly. Nobody remembered how Google looked like in the beginning. So yeah, don't be embarrassed.
Right. Yeah. Google still looks the same. I feel like they haven't even changed anything. But yeah, I think everyone, if they're at that stage where they're trying to spin up a landing page for a new idea, definitely check out Typedream. It's super easy. And I love it. So
thank you
I would just recommend everyone give it a try.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Bye.